Welcome to Stave Draws, and this is a review about the book Ink and Paint, The Women of Walt Disney Animation. Now there finally is a book about the women in animation, and especially the women who worked at the Disney studios in the ink and paint department. This book is written by Mindy Johnson, and she wrote it from a women's perspective because all of history is recorded by men, so they have a different point of view. And this book just shows a lot of images, and it's a very big book, and it tells the story about the women that worked at Disney, and especially in the ink and paint department. Ink and Paint, The Women of Walt Disney Animation is a great book. It shows a lot of things I've never seen before in other books. And it's really about the women who were working at the ink and paint department. It's published by D23. They have published a lot of other interesting books as well. It starts out with an interview about Disney, and he's talking about his daughters. And this book is not only about the ink and paint women at the Disney studios, but it also shows the history of women and how they worked at companies. And in the beginning, all the films were done in black and white, and they had to color everything on the film itself. Later, celluloid was invented, and then they could separate, for the animation, they could separate the backgrounds and the animation characters. It also shows that in the 20s that women finally got a right to vote, and that's when Walt Disney started out his studios together with his brother Roy Disney. They started out with the Alice comedies, and Alice was played by Virginia Davis. And later on they started out a series called Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And the Disney studios grew a lot, and unfortunately they lost the rights to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. So they had to make up a new character, and that was Mickey Mouse. Apart from Mickey Mouse, they also did a new cartoon series which was called The Silly Symphonies. And with the Silly Symphonies they could do more groundbreaking things. And also the first animated movie in Technicolor was Flowers and Trees. In this book there's also a description of how the ink and paint department worked and how they made up the new color system for all the new colors, and with which tools they inked the cells, and also with what kind of paint and what kind of brushes they painted the cells on the back. Here on the right you can see a cell in front and from the back, and on the back they painted it in an opaque paint so they could be filmed on the backgrounds. Here you see a picture of the old mill, and there they tested out a lot of things for the first feature they were doing in 1937. That was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And the ink and paint department had to come up with new things like the rouge on Snow White's cheeks. And there have been stories that they applied real rouge on the cheeks of Snow White, but in this book they debunked that because it was a special kind of pencil that would stick to the cells, and it had a little bit of a pastel feel to it. And then of course in Fantasia they had to do a lot of airbrushes on cells, and it's just a great book, and you see a lot of pictures of all the years because it's done chronologically. So you can see the art change and also the style of what women were wearing. And this is about the war years, because the Disney Studios was taken over by the army. So they also made a lot of movies for the army. Of course, they also tell about Mary Blair, who was a great influence on Disney animation. And here are some pictures they did after the war, and the new studio in Burbank, because they first were working in Hyperion Avenue, and then they Walt Disney made a new studio, and there were just a lot of people working at the Disney Studios at that time. The great thing about this book is that a lot of ink and paint women are highlighted, because I've never read about them. So this book is really a must-have if you are very interested in how the old animations, all the animation classics were made. Then this book is really a must-have. So I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll leave a link in the description box down below to this book on Amazon. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. In that way you won't miss a single video. Drawing is fun and practice makes perfect. See you next time. Doodles!